Hello, fifth graders. We are back again to learn a couple more drawing tricks. This time it's more about seeing really than drawing. We're going to talk first about a rectangular prism. I have a rectangular prism here. It's just a box of pencils. It's not unlike the rectangular prism that you made. And if I hold it like this, you can see one flat rectangular side of that rectangular prism. This rectangular side has two parallel lines right here and two parallel lines right here. And right now, you see 90-degree corners in all four corners, okay? If I take this rectangular prism and I tip it, you still see two parallel lines. And you still see two shorter parallel lines here. The parallels haven't changed, but look at this angle right here. That's not a 90-degree angle anymore. That angle is acute, or it is smaller than 90 degrees. And this angle is obtuse, or bigger than 90 degrees. But the parallel lines are still there. So when you're doing your drawing work with your cubes and your rectangular prisms especially, I want you to really watch for those parallel lines, okay? I'm going to show you how important those can be by drawing a cube here on the board. This cube is going to be mostly correct. These two lines are parallel, these two lines are parallel, okay? I'm going to see if you can spot the mistake. Do you see it? I only have to change one line to fix this cube. It should hopefully look kind of wrong to you right now, but if I change one line, it'll fix it. But before I change that line, I want you to notice this. This line, and this line are all parallel. This line, and this line are all parallel. And if I fix another line, this one, if I make that line parallel to the other two diagonals, so this one, and this one are parallel, now it looks like a cube. Okay, so when you're doing your drawing work, watch for those parallel lines. You will see them show up all over the place when you are watching for them. And one of the biggest places to watch are these little lines, those little diagonal lines or angled lines, because those are really easy lines to not quite get correct, okay? Here's another thing I want you to watch for this week when you're drawing. I want you to watch for proportion. Okay, you have a rectangular prism that you made, and you have a cube that you made. And those two objects are about half the size of one another. So, in other words, this cube is about half as big as your rectangular prism, or your rectangular prism is twice as big as your cube. Okay, your cube is 3 inches by 3 inches by 3 inches. Your rectangular prism is 3 inches, by 6 inches, and then the diagonal or the depth is 3 inches. So everything's the same except for the rectangular prism is 6 inches wide, where your cube is only 3 inches wide, okay? If you take a look at the cube that I've drawn right here, the rectangular prism I've drawn right here. If I were to draw that rectangular prism in my drawing, and I made it look like this instead, what's wrong with that? It's way too long, or way too short, or both, right? The proportions are not correct. The size relationships between the vertical lines and the horizontal lines, they are not correct. If instead I drew a rectangular prism that looked like this in real life, if I drew it like this, that wouldn't be right either, would it? It looks more like a square. The height might be okay, but it needs to be much wider, okay? So as you're drawing this week, I want you to watch for those proportions. You also have a square pyramid as part of your sculpture. If this were the rectangular prism in your sculpture, and you drew your square pyramid like this, that would not be good proportions either, would it? That square pyramid is way too tiny compared to your rectangular prism. Or if you drew your square pyramid like that, that wouldn't be right either because now it's way too big compared to your rectangular prism, okay? So as you're drawing this week, I still want you to be sighting those angles, closing one eye, matching the angles that you see in your sculpture to your pencil as you tilt your pencil left or right the way the hands of a clock can move. And I also want you to pay attention to parallel lines. You're going to see lots of them once you start watching for them. They are everywhere. And proportion, okay? Sighting, parallel lines, proportion, okay? Those are the three things I want you to really focus on as you do a new drawing from a new angle this week, okay? You can upload your drawing to the assignment, and I am super excited to see your work. Good job, boys and girls.